YouTubers, Mike Martins here with the Mike Martins channel. Guys, thanks for joining me, being part of the channel, liking and subscribing. Okay, guys, I have an article and a half for you guys. If you're living in Canada, pay attention. If you're living in the States, Australia, wherever you're living in, you got to take a look at this because there's a mass exodus happening, and it's been happening for many years now. It's been happening in California for years, New York, Massachusetts, Vancouver, Toronto, Sydney, Melbourne, Auckland. Affordability issues. So let's take a look at this headline here. It's kind of important because it's one of a very few existing major cities Canada has. It's losing its lifeline, its lifeblood. If it was happening in an American city, well, you got 3, 4, 5, 600 other major cities that people could move to in America. But when Canada's very few cities are starting to lose their lifeblood or start losing faith in their own very few cities they got, that ain't looking good, especially when the city has infrastructure it needs to cover and pay for. And who's going to pay for it? The taxpayers, of course. So here it is, guys. Ontario's most popular real estate market is now rural, while people flee from Toronto. So there it is. People are fleeing from Toronto. This is not news, right? So let's go over and find out why we're in this predicament or the situation we're in right now. So this video is from 4 years ago. Investors pumping up Toronto real estate market. So I hashtagged it there. Toronto housing boom to continue as Vancouver slumps. Chinese investors are fleeing Vancouver to the foreign buyers tax. Most fled to Seattle, Washington, and others fled to Toronto. So basically pumping up those markets there. So we go in to see here. Escape expensive Toronto and Vancouver. That's from a year ago. That's before COVID. The price of living is just too high. Oh yeah, this was funny. Toronto is no longer overvalued. Yeah, so there's a lot of crap in here that a lot of articles that were thrown up. So it's kind of laughable, you know. Over half of Toronto can't afford a one-bedroom. That's from a year ago. Again, this is pre-COVID, right? So COVID came in at a good time to blanket the situation, right? Toronto plunges negative housing crisis. Toronto housing market game over. This is when I thought that the data was showing that it wasn't sustainable. But when you lower interest rates and create first-time homebuyer loans and all this Mickey Mouse and pixie dust and sprinkles, you're going to keep it going. And especially with government intervention. And then this one's from 4 years ago. Toronto home prices invaded by investors. Toronto's condo market shows signs of vulnerability from falling windows to unsustainable community planning. And yet, the boom continued. In 2008, the average price of Toronto condo. So there it is. Locals abandoning Vancouver and Toronto 2 years ago. So this is something that's been happening a lot. This is not like an overnight thing. And if you want to actually start, Toronto housing severely unaffordable 3 years ago. Toronto real estate market out of control. So the locals weren't being looked after. It was more about bringing in money because Canada will be in a recession without money laundering. So there it is by province, and 96% of this was actually laundered through real estate. It was cashed through some casinos and through like college scams, and then it was laundered through casinos, and it was laundered through casinos and laundered through casinos and then invested into real estate market, right? Right. So that's what's been happening for years. And this is broken down by province. The Liberal government had to shut down this investigation. So we only got a couple of years here of money laundering by province. And that's 200 billion bucks laundered. So $200 billion is not a joke, especially when you're introducing it into an economy, a small economy that can't handle that much fake money. Ontario's most popular real estate market, so people are fleeing. So what is it? So let's go. Toronto is the biggest loser of people to other parts of Ontario. First, let's start where everyone is fleeing from Toronto. Interprovincially, migration has accelerated in size since 2015, doubling last year. So now let's go over here. So the numbers showing a loss of 50,000 people in 2020. This was 3,826 people higher than the year before. So they're losing a lot of people. Okay, so now where are people going? So Ontario net interprovincial migration. So this is people moving in, staying in Ontario like me. I lived in Vancouver. I wasn't going to pay $4 million for a house I could buy in Alabama for 30 grand. So I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to play their game, right? And you know, I mean, anyone, it's bang for the buck. Look where I live now. I'm living like a king. You know what I'm saying? My overhead's cheap. I'm thinking of getting rid of my gas. My gas is going up because now they're going to double and quadruple the price of carbon tax. So I'm going to get rid of the natural gas and put an all-in-one on-demand heater and boiler in my house. And it's going to pay itself off, I think, 50 times before it gets replaced. So that's just me. I'm looking out for the future of things because I think things are going to get very pricey. So let's move on to where people are moving. So this is outside, but where we want to look at Intraprovincial. So Oshawa, right there, 6,000 people moved to Oshawa. Hamilton, Ontario. So like this city, like the city of Oshawa, when I used to live in Toronto, let's say back in 2000, I mean, you could pick up a place in Oshawa for under 150K, 200K, like a good place, a big place. Now, it's obviously going up because people are moving there. Hamilton, Ontario, 3,627. Niagara, St. Catharines, 3,243. And a lot of these cities are having a lack of supply on the market, so it's pushing up the value of the housing. So it's creating more artificial bubbles because the city I live in a town called Merritt, British Columbia. It's small. It's a small town. It's got 7, maybe 8,000 people on a good day. And it's growing, right? It's not growing population-wise, but it's growing with people from the coast that basically are selling on the coast and moving up here. Good luck getting a carpenter here to do anything in this city. We've been trying to get a carpenter for 3 years to come and do some upgrades in the house and renovations. We can't get nobody. So if you're a carpenter and you can swing a hammer and you're in Ontario, come to BC. There's pockets of BC where they need work, man. They need people to come and work. So here it is. Barrie, Ontario. The boom is kind of over for Barrie. That's why you're only seeing 2,706. You got London, Ontario, 2,233. Then you got Brantford, Ontario, 1,630. And it goes all the way. And then look at Toronto, negative 50,573. 50,375, sorry. 50,375. There it is right there. And the three markets attracting Ontarians within 2 hours of Toronto. So there it is. The 3 cities obviously are 2 hours of Toronto would be, I think Hamilton's closer than 2 hours. I would think Niagara Falls would be. Sudbury's 3 hours away, but yeah. Guelph is about maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. Peterborough, same thing, an hour and a half, 2 hours. London is 2 hours. We don't have, why are we not seeing, Windsor, Ontario. Is it here and I'm blind? Yeah, Windsor. Windsor is already completely bought out. You see why no one's moving to Windsor? It's not because people don't want to move to Windsor. It's because there's a lack of supply on the Windsor markets. Thunder Bay, I don't blame anyone for not wanting to move there. It's too cold. It's cold in the summer. Like, pretty much in the summer, so there it is. The urban flight narrative is true to some degree, but that's not the whole story. Rural Ontario is attracting more people from the cities. That's true. However, every other city but Toronto and Windsor's tiny blip is net positive. This is less than urban flight and more of a flight from Toronto. So there it is. It's people leaving the major cities. And again, we've been talking about this for so many years on the channel. Where do Canadians go when they leave Toronto and Vancouver? 10 reasons why I left Toronto. Toronto real estate market out of control. So there's videos going back many, many, many years. Over half of Toronto can't afford a one-bedroom. Over half of Toronto can't afford a one-bedroom. And that was a year ago. And it's kind of funny how money laundering by foreigners destroying housing affordability. Vancouver mass exodus, yes, young families leaving. So there it is right there, guys. I kind of wanted to... Look, 10 reasons why I left Vancouver. Guys, check out the channel. Get part of the channel. Doesn't matter where you live. If you speak English, this is happening to you, and this is going to be happening in your major cities. Amerifornia is coming to America, Americans. Wake up, Americans. Amerifornia is on his way. And you're going to see all of America turn into California unless something gets done. It's going to be Texafornia, Floridafornia. You're going to have Jerseyfornia. It's going to be pretty bad. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you, guys.